no joking around. I had heard that you got yourself a fiancé, but I never thought he'd turn out to be such a handsome hunk. You're always so good at getting away with the best of things.
Huh? Nina?
That is so insane of you! Gosh dang it! I'm going to have to start drinking even more alcohol now. Guess it's time to move into the whiskey next then.
Nina, calm down with all your drinking right now. I already know that you're incredibly weak to alcohol, so why are you going so hard right now? Also, why are you being so confrontational about me and my fiancé?
Of course I'd be getting angry right now, right? I'm at my limits with all of this. Every dang time, it's always you that gets to experience everything first. If you keep getting away with having everything handed to you on a silver platter, I'm going to lose my mind.
What has gotten into you? I have no idea why you have to be getting this upset with me right now.
Of course you'd never be able to understand why, right? Well, it sucks having to always be around you when you get to enjoy everything, and I just have to sit here and watch, lol.
Huh?
Piper, you and I have been good friends ever since middle school, right? We were in all the same clubs and sports together, and you and I went to high school and university together. But all that time together, I had always hated you deep down. I hated you because being around you made me feel worthless because I never got to win anything.
What are you talking about?
All the time you'd be better at me in class and better at me in sports. And when it came to clubs, you'd always get to be voted into positions of power while I just sat there in your shadow. And whenever we'd have exams, you always scored more points than me. And then there was university, where I ended up not making it into graduate school and had to find a job like everyone else. Yet you only had to take that test once, and boom, you were in graduate school. Those are all the reasons why I've always hated your... Those are all the reasons why I've always hated your guts, Piper.
Is that so?
I've always been thinking that one of these days I'd come and take the rug out from underneath you. And then I'd be able to laugh at you while standing over you. Yet I can't even find a man that's willing to marry me before you did. And what's worse is the man you have is perfectly my kind of man. So if I stop drinking now, I'll never be able to handle this.
Hey, Nina, so you think you could grab yourself a drink of water and take a moment to calm down a little? I'm sure you're just going off about all of this due to the alcohol, right? If you'd like, I can come and get you from whatever bar you're at. With how badly you're acting right now, I'm a bit worried by how drunk you really are.
Just the way you try and act all kind towards me is disgusting. No matter how you try and change things now, I'm always going to hate your guts.
Nina.
I'm never going to forgive you for always doing better than me, so you'd better be ready, Piper. I'm going to make sure that I get the better of you really soon. I'll even make sure that you never have the ability to do better than me ever again.
I'm sorry, Piper. I've made some mistakes, so can you and I break up? I was able to find someone else that I really want to marry.
What? The person you really want to marry would be me, right? I'm your fiancé, after all, and you're mine.
I'm sorry, but I found someone that I like more than you. And I want to make a happy life with her now instead. And she's even said the same thing about me, wanting to get married and all that. So, please, can you and I be over, so that I may be with her?
Huh? Can you hold on a second, Bryan? What do you mean you want to marry her? Don't you dare tell me that you have been going out with someone else while you and I have been together!
Actually, her and I started dating last month. I knew that me having a fiancé and dating her wasn't a good thing at all, but the love her and I have for each other just kept growing.
You're lying, right? You have a fiancé right here, yet you cheated on her?
Wait, this wasn't me cheating or anything. I never did any of this as a way of fooling around. I really do love this woman.
This is not the time to start screwing around, Bryan. You and I have been preparing for our wedding together, and we're pretty much done with all the preparations. And even our parents have been able to meet each other and have grown to become really close. Yet you chose to go out with another girl behind my back, and you're only going to tell me about her now? I never thought you were this much of a freaking idiot.
Right, well, compared to you, I am one hell of an idiot, aren't I? And unlike me, the idiot, you're the perfect woman anyone could ask for. You're amazing at cooking and doing housework, and you never got upset with me for being a bit selfish. But that's the thing, you're so perfect that it's become boring to me, and I can't take it anymore.
What?
Being in a relationship means there will sometimes be fights, right? But every single time you listen to what I have to say with open ears, you're always willing to discuss things. And even when I'd get upset and say some stupid things, you'd just remain calm and not scream or yell back at me. And to me, that's really boring, Piper.
Wait a second. Haven't we gotten into a few fights before? But whenever we did get into fights, you'd always say that I can't talk back to you because I'm a woman. And so to not piss you off anymore, I made sure to stay quiet and listen to everything you said. That's why you might have thought I was being patient with you and acting all boring. I was doing all of that for you.
Huh? When was I ever so mad at you that I'd say something so dumb?
What are you talking about? There were literally times you got so mad at me that you'd start throwing things. And there was even that time you punched a hole into the wall because I talked back to you. So that's why I did as you said, and only listened to you when you got upset, and never made any comments. I just laughed it all off with you so that you wouldn't cause any more harm to anything. Yet now, you're telling me that I was being boring?
Even when I told you to pay for the whole wedding yourself, you said nothing back to me, and did so. Did you seriously do that just to keep me from getting upset with you?
That's right, Bryan. At that time, there were staff from the wedding hall there. And if I had said anything about your idea then, I thought you might start to cause trouble for all of them. That's why I just had to smile and agree with you before paying off the whole wedding. Even though that totaled out to being
Well, whatever. I'm not going to marry you anymore. I'm sorry, but I want you to be done with me, so that I can get on with my better future.
$50,000. You're right, I wouldn't want to marry such a jerk myself, so ending us getting married helps me out too. So go right ahead and have a great life with that scum that decided to take you from me.
I will. Your best friend Nina and I will have the best life together. Or go out and find yourself a man just as perfect as yourself, so that he doesn't have to find you boring.
Wait a second, Bryan. Are you kidding me? The girl you've been with the past month has been Nina?
That's right, I've been going out with her behind your back. She told me that my face and body were just her type, and she said she wanted me so much that she'd be willing to cut ties with you. So I had no other choice but to fall in love with someone as extreme as her.
You're lying, right, Bryan? Was this seriously what she meant by pulling the rug right out from under me? By stealing my
Of course, I feel really bad for all this, so I'll make sure not to invite you to our wedding. Now, goodbye.
Today's the day of our wedding! And not only is Bryan an absolute hunk of a man, but he's also been working for a great company. Lol. He even got us a wedding that cost him $50,000. Lol.
What? Nina? Even though for the past 3 months you've been avoiding all my texts, you finally decided to text me on your wedding day? Why?
I'm so sorry for ignoring all your texts, Piper. Lol. I had been looking forward to the wedding Bryan and I would be having, so I was at the gym all the time getting ready for my dress. So I never really had the time to look at my phone and reply to you, lol.
Huh?
But now it's the day of the wedding, lol. And since I have some time to rest a little now, I've managed to finally reply to you. So it's been 3 months now since Bryan threw you away? I'm sure you're at the point now where you found yourself another man, right? Lol.
I'm sorry to have to ask you this on your wedding day, but why the hell did you decide to steal my fiancé?
I told you, right? I was not going to forgive you for always doing better than me, lol. I had to make sure that you couldn't get married before me, and so I found a way to steal Bryan from you before you guys could make things official, lol. And since then, he's been in love with me a lot more than I was first expecting. Perhaps that means that Bryan and I were meant to be together, lol. And now I'm finally able to come out on top. So, how does it feel to finally lose after being the longtime winner? Lol. I have to say that for me, winning feels oh so good right now. Lol.
I never thought that things between you and I were ever any sort of competition. And right now, I don't feel any sense of having lost a game or anything. Rather, just the pain of having my fiancé stolen from me by someone I once called my best friend. And I'm still in shock about when you told me you've hated me this whole time.
This is such good news to me, lol. I'll make sure to drive those feelings even deeper into you by sending you pictures of the wedding later. Then you can look at all of them by yourself as you bawl your eyes out, lol.
You did say that today's the day of your wedding, right? It's amazing that it's only been a few months since you stole Bryan from me, and you've already gained the trust of his parents.
Well, you were the one that did all the hard work setting up this wedding, so it took no time at all for me to be able to take your place in it, lol. All that has to happen now is marrying Bryan, and then I'll be a part of his family, no matter what his parents say. I'm so glad that we were able to get the wedding started this fast, lol.
Are you actually using the wedding that Bryan and I had planned out as your own wedding now?
You're a little too late now to do anything about it, lol. Did the shock from losing your man to me make you forget about all the work and everything you put into this wedding, lol? I'm amazed you even forgot that today is the exact day you and him were supposed to get married, lol. And by the way, this is the wedding you paid $50,000 for, lol.
What?
Not only did I take your fiancé from you, but I was also able to get your wedding as well, lol. Sorry about that, lol. But this is all a part of me winning this game you've been playing with me. So thank you for giving me this wedding as a prize for my victory, lol. This beats thinking that Bryan had paid for this whole wedding for me by a long shot, lol.
But the wedding I had planned happened yesterday.
Huh?
If I just left that wedding open without doing anything with it, anyone could have gone with Bryan to it.
Hold on, Piper. What do you mean you had the wedding yesterday? I stole your fiancé, right? So how the hell did you have a wedding with anyone when you've only just lost your fiancé, lol?
I married someone I've been friends with ever since we were both in elementary school.
Huh? Someone that you've been friends with for that long?
I'm sure you might know him too, Nina. He's the one that's been living near my house in that mansion. And since we've both been living in the same neighborhood for so long, we've practically known each other even before elementary school. However, when we went to middle school, we ended up going our separate ways for a while. So maybe you don't actually know him after all now that I think of it.
Now that you mentioned all that, though. I do recall you saying you had a rich friend that wasn't in town much.
Well, he went to a school out of town, but his house was still next to my family. And our parents have been good friends for a long time now, so even though we hadn't met for the longest time, we still knew what was going on in one another's life. Anyway, due to our families being so close, when my parents heard that you stole Bryan from me, they went and asked his parents about whether he had anyone or not. And the next day, he called me and proposed to me over the phone. He actually told me that he's been into me for the longest time and was always thinking about the two of us getting married.
Huh? He proposed to you within a day?
I was amazed by that as well, but I had known about him for the longest time, and I knew he was always a kind and gentle man, so I said yes to him.
You're kidding.
And what makes this even better is that both our parents already know each other very well enough that we got to cut out all the awkward parts. Therefore, we were able to get ready for the wedding in no time. But I had wondered if it'd be okay for me to change Bryan's info out for my new fiancés, and when I called the wedding hall, they said they'd be able to change everything as long as I pushed the wedding date a day ahead.
And that's how you were able to have a wedding yesterday? The $50,000 wedding that we were supposed to have today was taken away from us right under our noses.
This wasn't supposed to be your guys' wedding in the first place. It was mine. I was the one that paid for all of it, and I was the only one to sign off on all the contracts for it. So please don't act as though it was ever going to be your guys' wedding.
That's...
It's lucky that the date for the wedding was pushed ahead by a day. But I'm sure that's because some other couple wanted to have their wedding today or something, and when I asked to change Bryan's information, they assumed that I would change everything else as well. I was also told that another couple was wanting today as their date anyway, so I totally went with it and moved our wedding to what was yesterday. Thank goodness I was the one that put the wedding together, because I'm sure Bryan wouldn't have been so kind about changing the date. Lol.
Then what are we going to do about our wedding today? You took away the wedding that the two of us were supposed to have. And now you're saying that someone else is having their wedding here today? Where are we supposed to have our wedding now?
I don't know the answers to that. Why not just have it in a park nearby or something?
Huh?
Well, anyway, the two of us have our honeymoon to head out to, so goodbye. And sorry for once again beating you in another one of your stupid self-made competitions.
What the hell, Piper? What makes you think you can just take our wedding from us?
I never once took anything from you guys. I was the one that paid for the wedding in the first place, and so I ended up still putting it to use.
You think so? I heard that you ended up finding a man that's better off than me. Yeah, right. I'm sure you were just so heartbroken by being tossed out by me that you just ended up marrying any man that came up to you on the street.
Huh?
Do you really think I'd believe that you could lose all the love you had for me that quickly? You're an idiot. I feel kind of bad for whatever man you put through that wedding, because he probably doesn't even know he's ended up with someone else's leftovers.
I never had this wedding as a way of getting back at you or anything, Bryan, if that's what you're trying to think. All that happened was you leaving me, even though we had planned on getting married. And then I found someone even more amazing to make my husband. And can you please stop thinking that I'd have any feelings for you now?
Sure thing. I'd love to think that you're done with me, but you're not. You're still upset with me that you got thrown away, but you can't let go of me. And that's why you had that wedding, to make me jealous and hope that I'd come back to you. I'm sure that the guy you found to take you up on your plan to spite me isn't even that good looking. If anything, he has to be worse looking than you. And to add on to that, he had to freeload a wedding from you, so that must mean he has no money. You might have thought you were going to make me jealous, but all you've done is show me the idiot that you really are for having a $50,000 wedding with some loser.
No, we actually chose to make the wedding even better by putting in another $50,000 to make it a $100,000 wedding.
What?
Not only is he an attractive man, but he's also got the money to support me. He's a great-looking man on the outside, with a heart of gold on the inside. And when I told him the wedding would already be changed to make it happen a day earlier, he said he'd put in the same amount I did on it to make it an exceptional wedding.
And that's how it ended up being $100,000.
Honestly, I wasn't thinking of making the wedding any more than it already was. But my husband told me that he wanted to make sure it wouldn't bring back any memories of you and I working on preparing it, so he wanted to make it even more striking and gorgeous so that I couldn't even tell that it was the wedding we were supposed to have, Bryan. And of course, he walked into the wedding hall and paid it all off in cash.
He paid it all in cash? Why does a man like him have that kind of money? I'd assume that since he was okay marrying a woman that had been used by her previous fiancé, he would be just as desperate as you were.
Well, actually, he has his own company now. Ever since he was a little boy, he was so intelligent, and when he went to university, he studied overseas in the UK. And while he was over there, he ended up starting his own business, and now he has a company with over 100 employees.
What?
And now that I think about it, you might know of this company. I sort of knew that you and him were working in the same business together. Do you know Green Towers Limited? Recently, they've been known for creating really well-designed AI systems.
Green Towers Limited? Not only do I know them, but they're a customer to the company I work for.
Really? Is that true?
They only just started doing business with the company I'm in this year, but they do such great work with us that, to my bosses, they are seen as customer number one. And I've heard that the company is a very enthusiastic one. So when working with us on projects or whatever else, they're always working non-stop to make things happen.
Really? I never thought that his company and you guys were in such a respectable relationship. As his wife, I'm really happy to hear that.
You have to be freaking joking, though. Why did your husband have to end up being the CEO of the company we do business with all the time?
And I hope that from now on, you guys continue to have a great working relationship. And with that, you have a good one.
You are taking this way too far. You've taken everything way too far by actually marrying a CEO. Why are you always able to outshine me? None of that is fair to me, Piper. If this is how things are going to be, I'm changing husbands. I'll give you back Bryan, but you have to give me that CEO of yours.
Excuse me? You know that's already never going to happen, right?
Then, at the very least, give Bryan and I $100,000 as a wedding gift for being so close to you.
What? Why do you keep trying and trying to piss me off so much, Nina?
Well, if you don't do that for me, then things aren't going to go my way. After all, you and I have been friends forever, yet you've always gotten everything you wanted. If you don't at least let me have fun for once, then you're a real jerk.
Nina.
We've been best friends ever since middle school. And since your best friend is having her wedding, don't you think it's fair to give me a great gift? And I mean, you have all that money now that you have a CEO husband. There shouldn't be any problems giving me $100,000 right now. Then with that, Bryan and I can give an even better wedding for our guests. To make it seem like we are both still really good friends, you should at least make it so that our weddings both look equally amazing.
Well, if you want to have a wedding like ours, then you have to save up enough money to afford it. Having a wedding like ours using our money does not make you and I equal, you know.
Shut up, Piper! Just be quiet and give me that $100,000 for the wedding! I'm your gosh dang friend, after all, so you shouldn't be talking this much and just be handing me my money!
Well then, we're not friends anymore, and so I no longer have to give you any danger money.
What?
Why are you so surprised by that? You stole my fiancé and then planned to steal my wedding. Just by doing that alone, you showed me that you didn't want to stay my friend. So that's why I will not be giving you two anything for your wedding.
Wait, Piper. What do you mean we're not friends anymore? And what do you mean you won't give me anything? Do you not see how cruel you're being to me? I already made sure to sign the contracts and everything for a $100,000 wedding, Piper. I just assumed that you'd give me money to pay for it all so there wouldn't be any problems. And so having the same wedding as you wouldn't be a problem either. That's why not only 30 minutes ago, I signed off on having a $100,000 wedding that would be just as amazing as yours.
Wow. What were you thinking when you don't even have that kind of money?
But if I had the money, I'd be okay. I just assumed that you'd be paying for it all.
Man, my head is starting to pound. This doesn't have anything to do with you being really drunk right now off whiskey, right?
Why would I be drinking that much when it's just after 1 p.m.?
So then, you're saying you're naturally this stupid? Well, if that's what you're saying, then I can't deny it. And don't expect me to come to your aid now. I don't even want to see you or Bryan anymore. So you both go ahead and find a way to solve that mess of yours. And don't even try saying that we're friends anymore, because we're not.
Piper!
Well, if you only just signed those contracts, maybe you can cancel them for a small fee. Then you wouldn't have to worry about paying for the whole wedding. Now, you have a good one, Nina. I hope you and Bryan can find a great way to have a wedding without destroying yourselves. After that, Nina ran crying to the wedding hall, asking to have the wedding she just signed for canceled. But no matter what the reason is, a cancellation of the wedding will still set you back 30% of the overall cost. And so, Nina and Bryan were still responsible for paying them $30,000. And so to get the money that they needed to pay off their debt, the two of them went to their parents asking for the money. But because the wedding between the two of them shouldn't have been happening in the first place, they declined to help them in any way. They then followed up by asking them both to leave their homes, as to not cause any more nonsense in their families. And that was the moment they had lost all ties to their families. As for Bryan and his relation to my husband, things changed for the worst. At least for Bryan. My husband contacted his company to let them know to never let Bryan work with him when talking business. And the company responded by saying they'd never let someone work with their customers if they had any chance of causing harm to either company. And so, Bryan was pulled out of working with any customers to the company and had to sit back being a paper pusher. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.